Greetings Barcode Battler fans, and welcome to my technical rundown of the Barcode Battler II. This video completes our Barcode Battler II trilogy and applies to the original Epoch release of the hardware, as well as the Irwin and Tomy releases, which were branded simply as the Barcode Battler. Questions such as, how does it convert barcodes to stats? And what algorithm does it use to calculate battle damage? And many more will be answered. So without any further messing about, let's dive into the technical aspects of the Barcode Battler II. Like the original, the Barcode Battler II is powered by 4 AA cells to form a 6V battery. Rechargeables are not recommended as their lower voltage may cause performance issues. The overall size is the same as before, described in the manual as 180mm wide by 110 tall and 35 from front to back. Both have a total of 7 buttons on the front for controls, with a sliding switch on the rear to activate or mute the sound, which is provided by a mono piezoelectric speaker. A row of 5 LEDs is also present, which again are used to indicate which player should take action, or to flash in sequence during the attack phase of a battle. One of the middle 3 also lights up before the start of a battle. Internally, there are 4 circuit boards, a main board upon which the LCD screen, main CPU, LEDs, and 3 of the input buttons are mounted. A pair of smaller boards carry the left and right power and battle buttons either side of the main board. Below the main board is the barcode reader board, which appears to use mostly the same components as the original model. The chips on the left are both C358C dual operational amplifiers, but with different 7-digit numbers. These could be batch numbers, serial numbers, or something else. We're not entirely sure. Without batteries, the Barcode Battler II weighs in at roughly 190 grams, compared to the 185 grams of the original, though this may vary slightly between individual machines. While the LCD screens are the same size, the symbols are different, as are the maximum displayable stat values. The maximum HP rose from 19,900 to 99,900, while strike and defense both increased from 9,900 to 19,900. Many of the non-numerical symbols have also changed purpose. The original model had separate scan symbols for left and right, which have now been sensibly reduced to a single symbol. Similarly, the 2 superhit symbols have been consolidated to just one. The mode symbols have been replaced by these grids of dashes. We haven't deciphered these yet, but we're close. The miss symbol has been moved to the right, and room has been made for a handful of new symbols. Escape, item, key, and news symbols have all been added, along with a pair of both soldier and wizard symbols, one for each player. The versus symbol in the middle has also been replaced by a magic symbol, with another for herbs replacing the empty space below defense on the original. Many of these symbols were revised for the international release, if only to replace the Japanese text with English. Despite being released in at least half a dozen countries where English isn't spoken as a main language, the only 2 language options are English or Japanese. Electronically, both versions are dominated by a large rectangular chip which houses a CPU, RAM, ROM, LCD controller, and various other functions. The main CPU is a Micro PD75, a 4-bit microcontroller produced by NEC. In the Barcode Battler, this had 12 kilobytes of RAM, which was beefed up to 16 kilobytes in the Barcode Battler II. Both have 512 nibbles of RAM. Nibbles, as in 4-bit sections, which is the equivalent of 256 bytes. This is still twice as much as the Atari 2600. Despite being a 4-bit processor, it can handle 8-bit data values as well as the expected 4-bit values. 1-bit data is also processable. Datasheets are available online if you'd like to know more, but we've yet to devise a way to extract the ROM. A second chip, an 8-pin S2929A serial EEPROM, was added to the Barcode Battler II for storing save game data. With great care, it's possible to use tweezers to slide the LCD background out from behind the screen. Custom screens are now possible, but the original is perfectly serviceable. It would be possible to house the Barcode Battler II's innards inside the original model's case and still have access to the full range of functionality if it weren't for the addition of a new port. This mono 3.5mm socket has been added, but it isn't used for connecting headphones or external speakers. Instead, it serves as a data output in connectivity mode. More in this later. Soldering may be required to separate the battery tabs on the original case from the power wires which lead to the main circuit board, and again to reattach them to the alternate case, but the buttons can be swapped out quite easily. The Barcode Battler II looks especially sleek with all black buttons, while the blue buttons suit the white Barcode Battler quite well too. So far we've discovered 3 algorithms within the Barcode Battler II which determine the stats generated from scanning in barcodes. These largely differ from those used on the original model. The first algorithm, dubbed Method 1 by our team, applies to the vast majority of official cards. I say vast majority since this card from the Saidan 1 set has non-Method 1 compliant barcodes on the back. There may be others. This one's very simple. The first 7 digits translate to most of the stats in a very straightforward manner. The last 6 digits control various other aspects. From left to right, these are the race of the card. I play the race card in defensive mode, which determines if the barcode represents a fighter or an item. Race also adds 10,000 to either strike or defense if HP is 20,000 or higher and the race is lower than 3. Next is the occupation or job of the card. For fighters, this determines if it's a soldier or a wizard, as well as compatibility with certain item types. Occupation also determines if items of race 9 are HP, news, herb or survival, or magic point cards. This third digit is referred to as DX on the Japanese Barcode Battler wiki. Quite what it does, we're not sure, but it is used in determining which algorithm to apply at the very least. The next 2 digits function as a pair and control the flag ability of the card. These abilities are mostly different between the 2 models, resulting in cards for the original handheld functioning differently when used on hardware they weren't designed for. For example, this wine card is rated to restore 3600 HP, but due to its flag ability, it deducts the HP instead of adding it when used as intended. However, when used on the Barcode Battler II, it not only adds 3600 HP to the player's current total, but it also grants a 3 times damage boost to opponents of race 4. A full list of known flag abilities is on screen. Please feel free to pause if you need to. You may notice some gaps. No known cards use these, with the exception of the Life Crystals card in the Irwin set, which for some reason was altered to make it impotent compared to the equivalent Epoch Hitome Bore and Tomy Life Crystals cards. Remember kids, wine good, Life Crystals not so good. I'm now obliged to tell everyone you should drink responsibly, except for kids who should stick to soft drinks until they grow up, and then drink responsibly. To be a Method 1 card, the following criteria must be met. The barcode must be of the EAN13 variety, or come from one of the subsets, such as JAN or UPC. The value of the first digit must be less than 2 unless the third digit is 9 and the DX value is equal to 5. That last one explains why all of the enemy and boss cards have a 9 in their HP values. If any of these criteria are not met, the algorithm switches to Method 2. For EAN13 barcodes, the first 5 digits are ignored. This allows Method 2 to work with both EAN8 barcodes and EAN13 interchangeably. Awkwardly, the stats generated by Method 2 depend on the game mode. This applies to items as well as fighters. For fighters, use in C0 or as enemies in C2 generate higher stats than when used as a hero in the C1 or C2 modes. Calculations are on screen now. Rounding down in this case means to round down to the nearest whole number. The percent symbol is shorthand for performing a division and using the remainder as the result, usually called a modulus operation by programmers. We'll be using the modulus operator a lot with the Barcode Battler II. The first digit acts as the occupation digit for fighters, but is ignored for items, which use 0 instead. Because of this, Method 2 barcodes cannot produce news, herb or survival, or magic points. When used as heroes, Method 2 barcodes always have a flag value of 50, regardless of their true data. Otherwise, the flag is derived from digits 4 and 6, and pulls from the same table as before. The maximum allowed flag value in Method 2 is 29. Anything higher will be treated as if it were 0. Item barcodes also work oddly in Method 2. When used in C0, they'll generate higher values than in any of the other two modes. Life, weapon, and protector barcodes all have different algorithms depending on the mode, separate to the stat generation for fighters. Finally, there are the exceptions. These mainly include epoch product barcodes, such as those for the original white Barcode Battler and the Barcode Battler II. When scanned, these barcodes generate data equivalent to the barcodes shown below. We've yet to test other epoch product barcodes, but when we do, we'll be sure to add the information to our technical page, link in the description. Also among the exceptions are the Generation 1 heroes, which are recognised by the Barcode Battler II as such, even though they have the wrong flag ability data. This is limited to only the 5 canon heroes, Rahman, Yuran-chan, Bon Curry, Charhan, and Meatman. Others, such as the Yellow Edition exclusive T Yakisoba and C Yakisoba, aren't recognised and are treated as enemies. The compatibility between various fighters and items is controlled by their race and occupation values. As we can see with the aid of this table, soldiers, or warriors as they're known in North America and Europe, have access to weapons and protectors according to the corresponding occupation values. Conveniently, the occupation of every weapon and protector card packaged with the Barcode Battler II and its international releases is 0, which makes them universally compatible among the soldiers which were also included. They are, however, incompatible with all of the wizards. Items which add HP, herb or survival points, and magic points, as well as the news items, use this table. The occupation value of the item controls its type between these 4 categories. Everything below 5 is a HP power-up, 5 and 6 are news cards, 7 is a herb power-up, and values above 7 add magic points. As previously mentioned, a fighter's occupation value determines their role as either soldier or wizard. Soldiers occupy rows 0 to 6 on this table, with wizards taking up 7 to 9. The HP power-up Hitomebore, or life crystals, which are shaped like grains of rice, has a value of 0 which makes it usable across the entire gamut of fighters. Similarly, the news and herb/survival cards can be used by everyone too. The magic point card, magic lamp, or magic spirit may only be used by wizards with an occupation of 8 or 9, which excludes Vermont Curif, Eagle Eye, and Beast Feast. This explains why this hero is limited to raising only his HP and herb or survival points. Some magic point cards from other sets may work for Wizard 1, so he doesn't have to be the hard mode of the 3. Using the other aspects of this table, it may be possible to create items which are only usable by certain fighters. It's possible to implement a simple system of the type used in Pokemon, for example. The enemy stats are drawn from a static selection, with the starting point for each world staggered as shown. It's not this simple, however, as the final digits of your chosen heroes are used to generate an offset, which changes the location of the weakest opponents. The Emperor God Station foes always have the same stats and aren't affected by this. The current era also impacts the location of the weakest opponents, but it is possible to predict where to find them if you have all the information. For example, with Ramen Champ and Vermont Curif, their total adds up to 4. In Era 4, with this algorithm, we get an offset of 3. We can then apply this to our table, and our list of C1 enemy stats for the heroes now looks like this. This all works great for the standard 4 eras, which are laid out in the manual, but when we take into account the hidden 5th and 6th eras, it gets even more complicated. Between the standard 6 heroes, Eras 5 and 6 follow the previously explained algorithm, but while testing we discovered that using a custom soldier ending with 8 and a wizard ending with 7 causes Era 5 to jump back to using the same offset as Era 1. We'll need to do more testing to see if there's a pattern. What's that I hear you shouting rabidly at your screen? There's no such thing as eras 5 and 6. Well, I'll explain further after. Passcodes were a staple in the original game, but have been limited to C2 mode in this version. However, while the Generation 1 hardware only supported 14 codes which worked regardless of your choice of hero, Generation 2 locks its passcodes to specific pairs of heroes. This was likely done to force players to play through C1 multiple times in order to power up different pairs of heroes and make them strong enough to face the C2 opponents. It also prevents cheating when it comes to the licensed card sets, like The Legend of Zelda and Super Mario World decks.
Oh boy, it's time for Mario's Tunnel of Doom.
No, Mario, wait a couple of weeks, you pesky plumber.
Very scary.
Okay, where was I? Oh yes, there are 99 levels of passcode, though not all of these are obtainable in normal play. Defeating the first 4 eras gives us the following codes. Breaking down the codes, the second and fourth digits are the passcode level. This can be anything from 00 to 99, but 00 and 01 give exactly the same results, so there are only 99 levels in practice. Digits 1, 3 and 5 are a mix of the passcode level and the last 3 digits of both chosen heroes. Due to the flag value for heroes in this version, Method 1 heroes will always have their third and second to last digits as 5 and 0. The legacy heroes will always be 1 and 8. Method 2 heroes won't necessarily follow either of these patterns, but their last 3 digits are all that matters when it comes to generating passcodes. For this example, we'll use passcode level 47, Ramen Champ and Vermont Curif, or their Western equivalents as shown on screen. Their last 3 digits are 501 and 503 respectively. For each of the 3 digits, add each pair together. For the first 2, add each digit of the passcode level. For the third, add the digits of the level together, divide them by 2, round the result down, and add it to the final digit of each hero. For all digits, use the modulus operator to get the remainder of the division by 10. We can now insert these values into the passcode. As for the effect of passcodes, the 3 core stats, HP, Strike and Defense, are each controlled by different algorithms, dependent on each stat at level 1 and the passcode level. Other stats, such as herb or survival points, and magic points, aren't affected by passcodes in a similar way, but they are reset to 5 and 10 respectively whenever a passcode is successfully entered. Unlike passcodes, F-codes are exclusive to the C1 mode. To access the F-code screen, press the L battle button while on the World Select screen. The display will change to show what appears to be a passcode screen, but with an F instead of a P, and space for only 3 characters instead of 5. As far as we've discovered, there are 2 types of F-code. The first group apply passcode-like increases to the hero's stats, but we've so far only discovered 6 of these, and they work only in Era 1. They appear to function for any combination of heroes and don't change the current era number. The second group allows the player to jump to eras 5 and 6. These codes are dependent on the last 3 digits of your hero barcodes, much like passcodes. The gameplay for eras 5 and 6 is no different to that of any other era, save for the enemy stats being the highest you'll see outside of the C2 enemy and boss cards. For this example, we'll once again use Raman Champ and Vermont Curif, or their Western equivalents as shown on screen. For each of the 3 digits, add each pair together. Once again, we need to use the modulus operator to drop any multiples of 10. Eras 5 and 6 serve purely as an additional challenge, with the reward of higher level passcodes than the 4 main eras. Sadly, there's no official artwork or descriptions for the enemies which might populate these extra eras, but Tomi's manuals do include 60 original designs which don't appear in their Epoch and Irwin equivalents, which is the exact number of new foes found across both new eras altogether. This algorithm was uncovered by our good friend Final Fighter, a Japanese Barcode Battler enthusiast who also enjoys working on tool-assisted speedruns. His website, barcodebattler.net, is linked in the description, Sadly, Google Translate doesn't do his notes justice, as there are certain parts of his explanation which I'm not able to fully understand, but I'll convey it as best I can. Please note that while the Barcode Battler II displays most of its stats in the hundreds, the 2 zeros on the end of each number are purely cosmetic. All of the internal calculations ignore these zeros, and this explanation will do the same. Calculating damage 1 is easy. S is the current strike value of the attacker. Strictly speaking, the random integer is an even number chosen between 0 and 8, and then multiplied by 0.1. But any random integer between 0 and 4 multiplied by 0.2 gives the same result. Damage 2 can be found by subtracting the defender's df, represented here simply as d, from damage 1. So far, so simple. Damage 3 is a bit more complicated. The results of both Google and DeepL Translate services seem to be missing vital information. Final Fighter's notes on this seem to mention compatibility between combined barcodes. The attacker's soldier or wizard as the first barcode, and the second barcode, which we think would be in the item slot. If it's a fused fighter, where the item slot is filled by another soldier or wizard, the second barcode has to have the same race and occupation values as the first. In a nutshell, this part seems to be controlled by the race value of the attacker if they're not fused, or the race value of their second card if they are fused. The translated notes then go on to describe compatibility values derived from race values, as in this table. This seems to give a huge disadvantage to races 0 and 1, since dividing by the larger compatibility value they're given results in dealing less damage, so we're sure this interpretation is probably wrong. We'll need to contact Final Fighter directly to clear this up. What is clear is there's a bug in the code which results in player 2 in C0 mode always having a compatibility of 2, regardless of the race values of their cards in play. Damage 4 applies what is effectively a type effectiveness chart, using the race values of the attacker and defender. Thankfully, the translated notes for this step are much clearer than for damage 3. With this in mind, it may be possible to create a card set with different elemental types, something akin to a Pokemon card set, but with only 5 different types. The Guardian Star also uses the attacker's race value, but this time you have to be observant. The seemingly random and irrelevant LED, which lights up before the cards are scanned, conveys a meaning. Each of these apparently has a name, though the source for these we've yet to confirm, as they're not in the Japanese Barcode Battler II manual. This time, there's no immediate disadvantage to one race or another, save for certain Guardian Stars appearing more often than others. After applying these multipliers, add 1 to the total. Damage 5 applies the timing of the battle button press to the algorithm, though exactly what indicates the right time isn't explained. If the translation is accurate, 50% of the time it's possible to get a multiplier of 2, and 25% of the time it's possible to miss. Although having a 25% chance to score double damage would make more sense from a game balancing perspective. Again, we'd need to contact Final Fighter for clarification. If the timed button press results in a miss, this results in the calculation being skipped from the beginning. Its explanation at this point is simply where the multiplier of 1 or 2 is applied in the overall damage calculation. To calculate damage 6, the flag abilities of the fighter and item barcodes of the attacker are checked to see if they fall in the range of 1 to 15. If they match either the defender's race or occupation, the damage is multiplied by 3. Match both and it's multiplied by 9. Alternatively, the attacker might have a flag ability value of 16 to 18, which applies any of the following multipliers. These will work on all opponents, regardless of their race or occupation. On top of this, if the attacker has used the Gantsu or Dekantsu spells, further multipliers are used. It's not completely unbalanced though, as there are abilities which reduce the damage taken by the defender. So while we don't have a fully translated version of Final Fighter's work, hopefully you might be able to use some of these points to choose a fighter who has the aid of the Guardian Star and an edge over their opponent. Final Fighter's been at it again. He's found the algorithm used for calculating the amount of health restored by using herb or survival points. HP1 is a simple calculation, where H is the player's health points at the start of the battle. The herbs value can be set via the Magic and Herbs screen, or the Magic and Survival screen as it's known outside of Japan. If the power button is used for restoring health, the herbs value is set to 1. HP2 applies the multiplication of a random number, any of 5 values including 1, 2, 3, 5 and 7, which each have an equal chance of being selected. Like with the damage calculation, a timing factor is applied. Unlike an attack, restoring health will never miss, so a multiplier of 0 isn't possible. Instead, it'll either be 1 or 1.4. As a side note, Final Fighter's work on these algorithms is based on the Famicom title Barcode World. This game's timing healing factors are 1 and 1.5. The odds of either value aren't mentioned in his notes though, so they could be equally probable. Lastly, there is a pair of flag abilities which affect health recovery. 43 will reduce an opponent's health recovery by 50%, while 44 will double a player's own ability to heal. The amount of recovered HP is capped at the amount lost compared to the HP at the start of the battle. While playing in C1 or C2 mode, the remaining HP at the end of one battle is carried over to the next, so don't miss the opportunity to heal at the end of a battle. As mentioned previously, there's a 3.5mm port hidden behind a tab on the left-hand side of the handheld. While it may look like a headphone socket, its true purpose is for data output. Conveniently, this allows us to connect an audio cable and listen to the data. Of course, this port is usually inactive, so listening to it during normal gameplay will be disappointing. To activate it, first shut down your Barcode Battler II. Remove the tab if you haven't already, but do so carefully if you want to put it back on, as it may break if removed and reattached repeatedly. Insert a suitable cable depending on what you have planned. Connecting to a Famicom will require this handy little cable, while Super Famicom connectivity makes use of this peripheral, which even includes a light to indicate a failed scan. The Barcode Battler II C0 and C2 units come with these short cables which have jacks at each end, so it doesn't really matter which way round they're connected. A similar cable can be used for connecting to the line in of a computer, and if you really dig this sound, you can pop in a pair of headphones and scan away. With a cable connected, press and hold the R Power and R Battle buttons together and turn the system on. Connectivity mode is now enabled, but the Barcode Battler II doesn't run a game of any sort in this mode. Using Rahman Champ as an example, we can see the transmission duration is 1/6 of a second. Understanding this will require a prerequisite knowledge of the binary number system and ASCII tables. I won't be teaching these here, but there are many places you can learn about them if you don't already know them and are curious. Looking closely at the signal, there are 20 bytes, each with 8 bits, and a high signal leading, with a low signal following before the start of the next byte. Counterintuitively, a high signal here represents a binary 0, with a low signal for a binary 1. Additionally, the transmitted bytes have their least significant bit first, so to make this easier, we'll have to reverse them on screen. Converting each byte to their ASCII character equivalents, we get this. The first 13 bytes represent the barcode, with the following 5 spelling out epoch. The last 2 bytes are the carriage return and new line characters, which are used in machine code to represent the start of a new line of text. This stands true for all EAN13 barcodes, but there are 2 other types of signal. EAN8 barcodes precede their data with 5 space bytes, 32 in decimal or 20 in hexadecimal. If there's a problem with the scan attempt, ASCII bytes signalling the word error are followed by 8 spaces. Including the separators, there are 200 bits per transmission, so each bit lasts 0.00083 seconds, which is more or less 1200 baud, that is, 1200 bits per second. Knowing all this, it's possible to write programs which can decode or encode Barcode Battler II connectivity mode signals. Indeed, we've now created the encoding side of this aspect, and our card listings now include buttons which can play a sound of the barcodes on them. I hope you've enjoyed this overview of the technical aspects of the Barcode Battler II. Admittedly, there's a lot more we could have added, but this video should more than cover the most frequently asked questions. Further details can be found on the Barcode Battler Museum's Barcode Battler II technical page. Check the description for a link. If you found this video to be informative, please drop a like or a comment. Your feedback is invaluable. A huge thank you to all our subscribers. 2023 marks 30 years since the Barcode Battler hit store shelves here in the UK, and we've now passed the milestone of 30 subscribers. And while that may be a number of subscribers Mr. Beast or PewDiePie would gain or lose on a daily basis without them noticing, for a channel which focuses on the Barcode Battler, it's highly encouraging. If you're not subscribed and would like to see more from this channel, please consider subbing and ring the bell to be notified when our next video drops. As a bonus for everyone who's made it this far into the video, I'd like to share this footage from Matthew Logue. He's recently been working on connecting the Barcode Battler II to the Nintendo Entertainment System, making it possible to play Barcode World. Maybe with a little more refinement, this could become a connector with a 3.5mm mono socket, perfect for gamers who would like to give this a try but lack the technical expertise. Sadly, the game doesn't run correctly on PAL NES consoles, but if you have an NTSC NES, it'll work great. For anyone considering supporting the Barcode Battler Museum financially, we have a Patreon account. Links in the description, and a list of our current supporters is about to go up the screen. You are feeling sleepy. Your eyelids are growing. Wait, the spiral is too slow. Honestly, we won't hypnotize anyone like this. Faster, faster. Wait, what was I going to say again?
You've ruined it now. That's the last time I take advice from a hypnotist.
No, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
You want to contract me for the rest of the videos for this year.
I want to contract you for the rest of the videos for this year.
And pay me thousands for each video.
And pay you how much? I don't care how fast your spiral's going, you're fired.
Ah, nuts. Maybe Mr. Beast is hiring again. We seem to be having a few technical issues, everyone. Still, we'll have to send the S2929A chip round to convince all of you to sign up. It knows where you live. Patreon supporters will receive access to our translated manuals a whole month before the rest of the world, so what are you waiting for? It's also the only legitimate way of accessing our Super Barcode Wars Dragon Ball Z manual translation. Sign up for our new Wizard tier and you'll also have the opportunity to be a part of our future videos. Our next video will cover the Super Mario World card set, with the following video taking a closer look at the Seidan 1 cards. Thanks for watching, I hope to see you next time.